Welcome back, guys, to yet another video on the channel. Today we are talking the future of shuffling in Shadowlands. Now, the reason that I wanted to make this video is a conversation piece of talking about preparing for the future in goldmaking, right? Preparing for what's ahead. Now, one of the easiest things in the game to do, very time intensive but very easy to do, is shuffling. Now, if you guys haven't heard that term before, it is, in this case specifically, vendor shuffling. So what you do is you take a material, you turn it into something else, and you sell it straight to a vendor for raw gold. Now, that was something that was very popular in the start of the expansion, still is, but not that popular anymore because it got nerfed slightly. But what we are beginning to head into very soon, and I'm already seeing it in some markets, is materials are starting to fall in value. Now, it obviously depends on the server, it obviously depends on the time of day, all these good things, but it's something to prepare for and be ready for when you see it. Something that is important is, if you guys don't know anything about vendor shuffles, or you want to get into knowing more about vendor shuffles, you should use spreadsheets. Now, one spreadsheet that we all know and love is Manfius's Shadowlands cheat sheet. If you guys did not know about this, I talk about it often. Everybody in the goldmaking community talks about it often, but this has a section down here at the bottom that's called vendor shuffles. Now, you want to hop on here, okay? You want to go on here, and then you want to look at all the different professions and what they have as potentials for vendor shuffling. You want to put your material prices into here as for your penumbra thread, well, not penumbra, soul dust, sacred shards, shrouded cloth, lightless silk, desolate leather, pallet bones, heavy desert leather, calcite heavy. All these things, you want to put the materials in here and look at what you're making every hour, like what you're making in terms of shuffling per hour. Now, one of the most obvious ones that I often go for is going to be the leatherworking ones for the composite bows. Now, these composite bows use 6 pallet bones, 5 desert leather, and 8 thread, okay? And they vendor for 89.54 gold. What does that mean? That means that your 8 thread, which is 8 times 7.2, is 56.6 gold. That means that you have already at 89.54, which is the value of set bow, you minus 57.6, and you have 31.94. Now, you can now think, okay, well, we have 39.94 gold left before we break even. That means that your pallet bones and your desert leather, if you divide 31.94, you divide that by 11 because it's 11 materials, that's 2.9. So if you buy desert leather and pallet bones for 2.9 each, you will be at 89 gold. Now, what's important to notice here, if you guys are new to vendor shuffling, if you can get these cheaper, so if you were to get them for 1 gold, 2 gold, or anything like that, that is where your profit comes in, okay? So that means that if you were, it's obviously 32.94, but if you were to get pallet bones and desert leather at 1.5 each, times that by 11, that's 16.5. Which means up to 30, almost 32 or whatever it was, you have a 16 gold profit per bow. Now, obviously, it's going to be a very long time before materials get down to that spot. But something that is very low already is pallet bones. And we're basically waiting on desert leather to get to that point. But once the patches, once the expansion starts slowing down, that's when these materials are going to fall in value as well. And when 9.2 finally comes around, probably next year, some people are hoping December, that is when these materials will go out, right? Because we're probably going to get some new materials that are going to take like the top spot, and a lot of focus on these materials are going to go away. So I recommend that you guys scour through the spreadsheets. This is one of them, and you go through and you put your prices in and your values in, and then you try to figure out, okay, how low does this material need to go before I can make a profit here? Now, something that is very important to notice is these are time intensive, because you have to craft, obviously, you have to craft all these materials. You have to, or not materials, you have to craft all these items because you want to make sure that you craft them, vendor them. And that takes time, right? You can't craft into your mailbox. It fills up your inventory, then you have to vendor it, and fills up your inventory, and then you have to vendor it. The good part about this is it's very easy gold. You know exactly how much you're getting back from it. So when you know how much you're getting an hour, that's when it really pops, right? And if you were, let's say, the most normal for composite bows, the one that I used to have was 2.5 gold per material, right? And it's 11 materials besides the penumbra thread. So if you say 0.40 times 11, that is 4.4 gold profit per bow, right? So you can usually, if we do actual math, it's 1,800 crafts an hour. But with handling of materials and like emptying out your inventory, it's probably like 1,600, 1,700. So if we say 1,650 times 4.4, that's 7,260 gold an hour. Now this isn't that great. But if you had 2 accounts, you had 3 accounts, or if you just have some AFK time, this is very good, right? This is a good addition. And your profits on this are probably going to be a lot better once a lot of these materials start slowing down. So I would definitely recommend for you guys to look into this and consider it and think about it, because there's a lot of gold to be had in this case. And this is something that I definitely will be looking into, and I will be looking at all these markets following their prices. But yeah, I hope this helped you guys out in some way. I hope you got some new knowledge, some new interest in the gold making world. And that's going to be it for this video. Until the next one. See you guys.